All right. Call the organizational meeting to the order. Please rise and take the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
All right. Our first order of business is to act on the agenda for the organizational meeting. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Motion's been made by Melissa. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Scott. Any questions on the agenda? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Agenda is approved. Second item is to elect school board chair for 2026. I will open up nominations for the office of chair for 2026.
I'd like to nominate Deb Ohm.
Second that.
It doesn't need to be a second.
I know.
There's been a nomination for Deb Ohm. Any further nominations? Any further nominations? All right, hearing none, I will close the nominations for the office of chair. All in favor for Deb Ohm for board chair, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Thank you. We will go on to vice chair. I will open up nominations for vice chair.
I would like to nominate Don Bordeaux.
Okay, Scott has nominated Don Bordeaux for the office of vice chair. Is there any further nominations?
I will nominate Melissa Lynch.
All right, Jen Super has nominated Melissa Lynch for the office of vice chair. Any further nominations? Any further nominations? All right, hearing none, I will close the nominations then for vice chair. And what we'll do then is, let me make a note here. We'll do it by a show of hands, okay? And we'll start with Dawn. She was the first one nominated. So with the show of hands, who would vote for Dawn for vice chair for 2026? All right, so we have 4. And a show of hands for Melissa. We have 3. So there you go. Congratulations, Don is vice chair for 2026. Okay, we move on to clerk. Is there a nomination, or I'll open up nominations for the office of clerk. Nobody wants to be clerk.
I'm doing it right now. What can we do? I will nominate Melissa Lynch.
All right. There's been a nomination for Melissa Lynch for the office of clerk. Any further nominations? Any further nominations? Any further nominations? All right, hearing none, I will close the nominations for clerk. All in favor for Melissa Lynch for clerk, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Clerk for 2026. Then we will go on to acting clerk. I will open up nominations for the position of acting clerk for 2026.
I'll nominate Jen Super.
All right, a nomination's been made for Jen Super for acting clerk. Any further nominations? Any further nominations? Any further nominations for acting clerk? All right, hearing none, I will close the nominations then for acting clerk. All in favor for Jen Super for acting clerk, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, Jen is acting clerk for 2026. The last position, treasurer. I'll open the, nominations for treasurer for 2026.
Scott Bowman.
All right, there's been a nomination for Scott Bowman for, treasurer. Any further nominations? Any further nominations? Any further nominations? All right, there has been no other nominations, so I will close that for the treasurer position. All in favor for Scott Bowman for treasurer? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, Scott, you get to sign all the checks. All right, we will move on. We have, the next item of business is our board compensation. And I believe the committees are listed under there too.
What, do you need a motion for it? Or do you just need a motion to continue the compensation as is?
Yeah.
Yep, either what happens is that if somebody wanted to, have this looked at and get a pay raise, then it needs to go through finance and the policy committee.
I'll
Or we
make a-
can just review it during,
I'll make a motion to keep the school board rates of pay for 2026 the same.
okay? Motion's been made by Scott to keep the board rates the same for 2026. Any, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Melissa. Any, further discussion, comments, questions? All right, hearing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed?
Aye.
All right. I did miss one thing. Committees were underneath, the acting or nominating all the positions. So there is a list of committees for 2026. If you, guys just want to take a quick look at those, let me know over the next couple days, which are your top three or top one. And then we'll get those reassigned. All right, so we will move on then to item number 5, our board meeting schedule. If you look at, the schedule here, we're suggesting a couple of changes to our regular schedule. Pat, I don't know if you want to address that?
Yeah, it's to the start time on the January, February, because of the way the calendar lined up, it conflicted with the planning commission from the city. And they would want to make sure that we are cleared out of here by the time they start at 7, so they want us to start a half hour sooner. So.
Does that move the public engagement and the policy meeting up an hour?
So that affects January 20th, which is our next meeting. It would be at 5:30, and then our second meeting in February, so.
What other months? We only have one.
We only
December,
have one,
July, December, July, and
June, July, August, no, August, we have.
July, November,
December, yeah.
Have we talked about taking one off in August, or were we gonna keep it? I can't remember what we decided.
I think we were gonna keep it, but
Probably added on
Just
this year.
at that time, it's how busy we are, we canceled, yeah.
So if there's agreement with this, if somebody wants to make a motion to, accept the school board meeting schedule for 2026.
I just want to note that it says the first meeting of the year is January 7th instead of today, January 6th.
Good catch.
I don't think that's a huge deal, but it is.
We are, and we're being paid,
And
so.
tomorrow, no.
Hmm. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve those? All right, motion's been made by, who was it, Jen or Melissa?
The
Yeah,
acting clerk.
the acting clerk.
That's what you can tell.
There's been a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Scott. Any comments or questions on that schedule? All right, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And now comes all the fun stuff we do every year. Consider a resolution designating office depository for school district funds for investments for 2026. So we're naming all our banks and investment firms. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve those as presented?
So moved.
Motion by Eric Stramberg, or second, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Don. Any comments or questions on that one? All right, this is a resolution, so we'll vote by roll call and we'll start with Jen.
Yes.
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 All right, that resolution passes. The next one is, item number 7, designating our official school district publication. And as you see, we have the Union Times listed here, along with our district, official website. Is there a motion to approve that resolution as presented?
Second.
Motion made by Eric Mingus, seconded by Melissa. Any comments or questions on that one? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, Union Times is it. Item number 8, designate bond counsel for 2026. Is there a motion to approve Dorsey and Whitney?
So moved.
Motion's been made by Don. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Scott. Any comments or questions on this one? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, bond counsel is approved. We need to designate attorney for 2026. We have listed here Rupp, Anderson, Spires, and Walsberger, which we've had for a while. Is there a motion to approve those?
So moved. Melissa.
Motion's been made by Melissa. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jen. Any comments or questions on that one? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, I'm almost there. Item number 10. Consider a resolution authorizing the Director of Business Services and/or designee to make short-term investments of school district funds. Is there a motion to approve that resolution?
So
As
moved.
presented. Scott, motion made by Scott, seconded. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jen. Any comments or questions on that one? All right, none. We will vote by roll call on this one. We'll start with Melissa.
Yes.
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 All right. Item number 11. Consider a resolution authorizing the superintendent and director of business services to lease, purchase, and contract for goods and services. Is there a motion to approve that resolution as presented?
So moved.
Motion's been made by Melissa. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jen. Any comments or questions on this one? All right, we're gonna vote by roll call again on this one, starting with Eric.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
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 Jen?
Yes. Yes.
All right, item number 12. Consider resolution authorizing Director of Services or Director of Business Services to use facsimile signatures. Is there a motion to approve that resolution?
So moved.
Motion's been made by Scott. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Melissa. Any comments or questions on this one? We'll vote by roll call then, starting with Don.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right, is there a motion to adjourn the organizational board meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made by Don, seconded by Eric Minks. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. All right. Then. Change our meeting here. We'll go right into our regular board meeting. I can get a look. There we are. No, haven't seen the citizen comments. I'm gonna call the meeting to order. Let's do the pledge again. We driving and do some pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, the roll call show all board members are present. And there are no citizen comments. So we will move on to, board member committee reports. And, we'll start with Stramberg, Eric Stramberg.
Nothing to report.
Scott,
Nothing new to report.
John?
I have agenda planning.
All I had was agenda planning too.
Nothing.
I was on a panel for the, community leadership series about local government for the chamber. We were at the Madrigal, which was very awesome. We did Carol at the Elam home with Jana, who's our parent, was her title in parent engagement, or yeah, whatever. That was pretty fun. They didn't even boo us, so that was good. Also, I just wanted to let us know that, or let the group know that, our readathon for the PTO is going from the 9th of January to the 23rd. So we're really trying to like hype up the parental participation, getting kids to participate also. And then I don't know if John still needs any, but there's the kindness retreat leaders thing coming up for the intermediate school. And that one, I know I can volunteer the 21st, but it was the 20th and the 21st. So I didn't know if you were interested in reaching out to him about that. That's all.
All right, Jen.
Nothing to report.
All right. Student council.
However, resource story time with Miss Tiffany is at, Princeton Library.
For the primary, there's Hat Day on January 15th. The intermediate continues to practice and introduce emotions with lesson plans for all grades. This month, the intermediate is focusing on the P in tiger stripes, which is positivity.
I couldn't find anything on the middle school.
For the high school, there is a one act play performance coming up January 16th.
And then the same one act, they have a festival, which is kind of like a scrimmage for one act at Zimmerman the 17th. And then some other events, there's a variety show this Friday at the high school.
Which is always a good one. All right, thank you. Pat, superintendent report.
Thank you. At first, before I kind of go through my report, we got notification from MSBA that we have somebody to honor tonight. Scott Bowman has completed the training series with phase 1, 2, 3, and 4.
It's very
And now
studious.
will receive a leadership development certificate from
Look at that.
MSBA. So
Very nice.
congratulations, Scott.
Good job.
Thank you.
And speaking of MSBA, as we all know, we have that conference coming up here in about 10 days. So that'll be a good conference. Go down and learn some new information about how we continue to lead a good school district. So I'm looking forward to that. From the last meeting to this meeting, a few things. We had the chamber leadership series, which I'm a part of, but at the same time, I was a panel member because it was about local governance, and so Melissa and I did the school part along with Michelle, and that worked really well. And then the medical was a dinner that was great, and there's some local talent in the room even. Really fun to see the talent of our kids, along with all the holiday concerts and the events that happened during the holiday season, if you will. Had a meeting with the Rum River has a MTSS team that's doing leadership across all of the Rum River school districts, but they meet with each one and talk about, are we delivering what you need for your MTSS training? And that's part of our admin PLC. And so we've already had a meeting a month, so however many months that's been since September. So we have one more in January, and then we kind of take the action steps and move forward with that. So they have a good roadmap for us, and we're making good strides with that. And there's many a part of it. And Mary's sitting in here, and there's others that are, you know, the coaches and the leaders of our school district that are helping learn that process. I do want to shout out that we did do holiday caroling at the Elam homes. That was really fun. It's amazing to watch those that are in the home have all those songs memorized. Because as we would sing, we would have sheets, but they would verbalize it, and they knew the songs, so it was pretty fun to see. Then of course we had a good winter break, some interesting weather between Christmas and New Year's. I'm glad I didn't have to call that one, but then I got surprised this morning, so get a little payback, I guess. Did not see that happening this morning. I already shouted out once to Eric Strandberg, but thanks for leaving early to work so you can give me a little heads up on the roads, because that helped me. But it was clear ice out there. Enough where I found out that my step in sidewalk was not as clear as I thought, and I took a little tumble myself this morning. So yeah, be careful, walk like a penguin out there. So I think that ended up being a good move today. Last night I attended the Lions meeting. I just want to do one shout out for the Lions. They do so much for the community, but they have one of their large fundraisers on February 22nd. So if you want to be a part of the fishing contest or just buy a raffle ticket, you can talk to me or talk to any Lion, and we'll help you get directed in the right direction. But that's a 1 to 4 event on February 22nd, Sunday. So exciting for the Lions to do that for the community.
And the weather's gonna cooperate for them this year.
Yeah, well, yeah, no kidding. Thanks for the biggest.
Not an issue.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we have some documents in front of you that we've been preparing for the review and comment as we had the decision as an action item. I think it was 2 meetings ago that the administrative team would work with our consultants to put together another review and comment to look forward to the state for going out for referendum on May 12th. Those documents and revisions are in front of you. Probably the biggest highlights are 2 things. Because of the construction costs going up, we knew inflation would increase in construction costs. We said we'd like to keep the projects the same and just go out and ask again to see if people can see the need. As we said before, it's a need, not a want. So we're asking for this need again. And the funds for preparing that construction project has raised. It was at 49 million, 1.4, I think it was before. Yeah. And now it's raised to 50 million, 0.025, which by the time you bond it, it's at 51,350. Now, with that said, a couple things have happened. As you evolve through a year, that's 1 more year we're paying off the primary school, which means that's 1 more year we'll have for full funding as you do the wraparound debt paying and bonding. So that gives us 1 full more year more, and we'll have a larger tax base at that time. So between those 2 things, the cost, even though the construction went up, the cost on a average home actually went down by $1. So now it's $14 a month instead of 15 on the exact same bond that we asked for before. So I guess we have Ryan from ICS and Jody from Ellers and Robert from Wold on the call. If you have some questions for them, they're willing to answer any questions. And then I think the only question we had internally is going out and saying that it's more money to build but less money from the residents a good message?
I was just thinking the same.
Or do we want to keep it at 15, which we haven't increased the cost of living across the capital levy, so we could increase that as an increase the cost of, cost of living
Yeah,
and raise that a little bit to get it to $15 so it stays consistent to what we had, this last fall. So that, to me, that's a discussion item along with any other questions you might have.
yeah, we have that further on the agenda too, so.
Are we discussing it now with
But yeah, down on the information.
Yeah, so maybe to kind of get, I'm giving you the, thinking time and
Yeah,
then when we have it on the agenda, let's, discuss and see where your thoughts are
okay,
at. But other than that, that's all I had for the superintendent's report.
all right, thank you. All right, we will move on to item number 6. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Motion's been made by Melissa, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Dawn. Any comments or questions on the agenda? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, agenda is approved. Item number 7, discuss and act on previous board meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve, those minutes as presented?
So moved.
Motion's been made by Jen, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Melissa. Any comments or questions on the meeting minutes? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, minutes are approved. Item number 8, consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Motion is made by Scott. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Eric Stramberg. Any comments or questions on, the consent? All right, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, consent is approved. Our first, information item is enrollment.
Yeah,
Michelle,
I'm actually gonna have you bring up the second document.
okay.
I'm trying to figure out how to turn this.
If you figure it out, can you let the rest of us know? Because I just had it like this on my kitchen.
Hmm.
It's under the settings. If you go to the page with the gear in it in the upper left-hand corner.
Here.
There's view controls on it when you hover over it. And page orientation.
There we go. Oh,
Should I look?
I downloaded mine.
You're cheating.
I cheated. Yes, I knew how to do it in that format, so that's what I did. So, as you know, we, track enrollment at the end of each month, so we have the end of December in here. In our totals, we have all programs, as the main office, it doesn't really matter to us where the kids are coming from. The total is the most important thing that drives our funding. But as you know, we started an online K-8 program last year. So we are tracking those numbers separate on the side there. Just to make you aware that, let's just take kindergarten, for example. If you take the 25 students under the off of the 204, we are in the 180s for enrollment on site at our buildings. So we have projected that our kindergarten would go down. But because of the online K-8 program, we actually maintained, we're flat. You can see that throughout all of the grade levels. If you take off the kiddos that are in our K-8 online program, our seat-based program within the district is lower than we would definitely like it to be. So the K-8 program is holding us up enrollment wise, but it will not, I want to stress this, We still have to pay for the staff, the program needs an administrator, they need all the administrative pieces. And they need the staff to run it, the special education pieces are all there. That's all required in, just like in our seat base, so the variance of will not be enough to offset, what we're losing with our seat base. Yes. But that is, we do that every month and, you know, enrollment at least looks better, than we had thought, so that's good news. And then if you go back to the first tab, the summary tab. At this time of year, we start looking at the revised, enrollment for the year. So we look at October 1 and then what typically happens between October 1 to the end of the year. So we're looking on past history. We have 1 year of the K-8 online. So as you know, last year we kept growing each month because of that. So we only have 1 year of that, so it's not gonna be a pop in our enrollment projection, but it is showing us, not losing enrollment at a high rate to the end of the year. So, we're looking at all the ways that we looked at it. We are looking at about 3,170 kiddos, at the end of the year in total through all programs. And then we're looking at moving that forward into 26, 27. As you know, we use Eller's enrollment projection thing, and I just looked at a 3-year, 2 years, and then I did a 5-year. And then, like we do every year, I put down at the bottom, I took the 3175 and I subtracted from that number each of those areas. And you can see our highest variance right now is a -28. But then I want you to go back to K. Right now, Eller's model shows 187, and that has to do with the birth data that we have in the district. That is not taking into consideration our online program. So it would not, because those kids are predominantly outside of our district boundaries. So 187 would probably be more like, we would probably be closer to the 200, 205, like we are now if we were similar to this year. So our first year in K for online K-8 was about 12 kids. This year we're running, what did it say, 25? Yeah. So as we always do, we set the enrollment parameters at the next meeting after we talk about it, so everybody kind of look at it.
So the 187 does not include the,
Online. Yeah. Yeah, if I was looking, my initial thought here is to be conservative, because we still have plenty of negatives here. But I would say that we would definitely probably be safe with flat enrollment. So we can talk about that, and we can talk about, you know, what happens, you know, as we see more what happens this year, how much growth we have. You know, when you get into the 3rd year of a program, you start to see a pattern.
Yeah.
You know, our fear is our program is doing well now, people are coming into it, but what happens if they decide not to come? You know, it's a relatively new program. And if general unassigned fund balance did go down, we are now at our 10%. So if we're off on enrollment, you can see this faster than we would like to go.
Another reason to go conservative on that.
Yes.
So you mentioned that enrollment is a little better than what we
Mhm.
have.
Yes.
But it's still not good,
Well, our seat-based is going down, our
which is
online
not
program,
good.
you know, that I would like it
And
to go
so
the
if
other
we're
way.
basing everything off of the K-8 online, if we didn't have that, we'd be in a world of hurt,
Yes,
Really not good.
really not.
it would really be not good.
So at what point does the online start to, as far as enrollment numbers, start to make the seat-based enrollment where it helps it out even more? I mean, do we have the metrics on how much we need?
Our first year in the program, the variance on that was a positive about 115,000. My initial calc off of the numbers I had at the beginning of the year, because it'll change as we go, was that we would double that going into by the end of this year. No, the thing is, we are paying for a platform. Those platforms, anything with technology is expensive. We are providing staff. So the initial startup, you don't have, I think as we get up to 300-400 students, we'll see more of a variance. Because we have, you know, the principal, the statement costs in there.
As that program increases as far as, students, does that also mean our input costs or administrative costs also increase? Will there ever be a time where it's more like this
We
instead
may
of?
need, we
like
may
that?
need to add more secretarial administrative assistant help because of all the paperwork that goes into enrolling students, the MARS pieces, tracking enrollment, all those pieces that happen at the secretarial level. Right now, our principal and Pat can speak to this. Our principals are running buildings of about 700. So I don't think that we would need to add another principal. You know, we definitely don't need to add custodial staff or additional main staff in order to provide the curriculum, because we have the curriculum through the Venture Upward program. So, I mean, it's just the growth of the program that I think would start, you know, as we get more and more. We still have to hire teachers. But we haven't seemed to have a problem finding teachers for that program. We have plenty of applicants.
So is it cash flowing?
It's cash flowing and leaving a little bit on the table to operate our secrets.
Good.
Yes,
What were our numbers at the beginning of the year
as far as,
for the K-8?
I don't have that. We
Because
just have,
have we increased since we started?
yes,
Yes, yeah.
yes.
I
Yes.
think total we were at 180, now we're at what, 240, whatever that number was.
I was thinking we were around 200, but
That was our goal. Be at 200 at the starting, but we weren't at, in August, we weren't in.
Yeah, I thought it was one.
We are now at 243. In the previous month, we were at 211. So in November, we were at 211. And I think in January of last year, we saw a bump because it was after Christmas. It was a nice time for people to jump on that are looking for that kind. So we may see another bump it here at the end of January.
You get, just from being in that world and being the director of online school, I know that you get bumps at quarter breaks, semester breaks, spring quarter breaks.
Okay.
Sometimes you get, the kid just doesn't want to be in the seat base anymore at some other school and they're frustrated. They look for an online, they find us and they sign up for us.
Do you also see that at a certain point that enrollment in online will plateau?
Really great question.
Because I can't imagine there wouldn't be more and more competition out there for online as we go further into the future. So how do we make, if we need online to cash flow for our seat base,
Right.
we have to keep, increasing and promoting and doing.
Yes.
One of the things that they do with onward, venture on, upward.
Venture upward.
Yeah, they, part of their contract is to promote it for us. And they have a hub down in Worthington and has that kind of gives them this southern area of the state. And they picked Princeton because they thought it was a good geographical area to get the northern. They are looking at doing something in Duluth, but they don't think that's gonna compete with us, but, so I would say just from, again, me being in the business for a year, there is, Princeton is, ahead of the game, if you will, for anybody in our region. They're in our region that would, there's just nobody else showing it. And from and I can't brag these kind of stats. When I was running the online school that I was working with, the surveys coming back, we get positive reviews, really positive reviews. So I think we're running a program that attracts the students here and attracts the parents here that they want to be a part of it. So that's all good news. But to your point, Eric, we have to stay competitive in the business or,
Yeah,
all of a sudden they could find the next shiny apple.
right.
We could lose students too.
Well, and it's so much easier to switch online programs, so one negative interaction on social media, right now it's been very positive, and I mean, it sounded like the parents were like willing to have their own meetings to talk about the program, but it quickly can.
Yeah, it can turn.
So did they find a space where they can bring in more of the locals once a week? To get that piece going?
Yeah, they do.
Okay,
The bench for the K-8,
yeah,
yeah,
I know they were looking for space, but I didn't know if they found it or not,
I'm
so,
pretty sure they did, yeah.
which is good because that,
You need to
Bill-
be social.
yeah,
Yeah,
so that's a good piece to
Absolutely.
have.
And it's, one of the markets out there is the homeschool market. They're gonna be homeschool students probably anyway, but now if we can provide this service, we get some funding for it and to your point, Don, if we can provide that social outlet once a week for them, I know homeschool parents are looking for that too, so it's a good setup. So it's just a matter of maintaining it and make sure it continues. I think one of the points you were getting to, Eric, and I know, Michelle and I talked about this a lot, is kind of how many students on online offsets one student of seat base. To me, and maybe I have the numbers in my head wrong, but I'm thinking it takes about 3 online to equate to 1 for the funding we get back. It's probably about a third of what we get on a regular student.
So what we don't want to do is attract our own students in seat base and bring them on.
attract, that's right.
And so far that hasn't happened, so
Yeah.
put that out in the
We'd like
universe.
to keep, all of our.
You guys over here are not allowed.
You're already a Princeton Tiger, you stay right where you're at.
yeah. All right, any other questions or comments about enrollment? All right, and as Michelle said, this will be on our agenda next meeting, January 20th, okay?
Yep.
We will move on to item 9B. Review and comment update. We have all sorts of attachments on this one.
Yeah, so the attachments pretty much, it kind of summarizes what we've talked about. The commentary is really just the emails from the back and forth that we have from Ryan and Jody and Robert. So, I guess at this point, it's, you have the information in front of you that shows you how much the inflation costs, on our construction project. And then, what it does for our tax impact. So, now it's just a discussion if that's what we want in the review and comment, because, if it is, it's pretty well ready to go, other than the cover letter, and then Deb and I will need to sign it probably tomorrow or the next day, so we can get it in by the end of the week. It's due next week, so.
Oh, okay, I was just gonna ask that.
So I have a question about what we were talking about earlier with, we know that it fell $1 a month because we had the year, the primary, another year of the primary under us, but when we counted for the inflation that changed the bond amount, we did not include inflation in the capital levy, but that's what you were saying. Like
We
we
could
could
consider
do,
that,
and then it
yeah.
would keep it this, but it would still count for the inflation, because we're not getting inflation raises from anywhere else.
Right. Yeah, that would be one way, one mechanism that we could bring it up to the $15 a month. So it's consistent. And it really, it's kind of, it's a good kind of dilemma discussion, you know, what is the optics of it? Does it look wrong to have it be less a month when you went up for construction, or is it, you know, a celebration moment, you know, where is that conversation? And is that $1 a month that
Explaining that.
changes the vote?
Yeah, yeah. And I think, we would still have, we would still have questions if we,
Right.
left it at $15 a month. They're still gonna say, but you raised it to 50 million.
Right.
How can it still be $15 a month?
Right.
So either way, we're gonna have to really strategize on how to explain that. Clearly, so people, you know, get it, like.
Which really,
Last time?
kind of leads us into, you know, a little bit of social media tried to say that there's no way that could be happening, that, you know, increase of $15 a month can pay off 49 million. But they didn't understand, you know, this concept with the wraparound. And I think if, that leads us into that conversation right away, it actually probably helps us, because now we
Yeah.
can show how we do handle our debt and how we pay off our debt over time, and how you roll in and wrap it around. Because that, you know, explains that most of the payments for that larger amount comes on the back side of the loan, not the
Right.
front side of the loan. I'm showing that to them. We've not looked at it. It's on all of our referendum pages too, if you ever look at
That
it.
graph really, I mean, that graph helps
Yeah.
a lot to see that.
Because they don't understand. Yeah, that's gonna need to be like a.
Focal
Yeah,
point.
like a point, like there's gotta be a creative way to explain that. I'll figure out how I can explain it to Lincoln, and then we can.
There you go.
I don't think that we should change anything to make it go back up to 15, because I feel like we're saying, here's the amount, here's the exact same thing we're going for, then. I guess I don't know, I'm just going for the consistency. We said this is what we need, this is what we need. That's just my opinion.
Scott, you had a question or something earlier.
Maybe I just spaced something, but once the voters approve a capital projects levy, that cannot change due to inflation? Or can it?
Right, now these are set figures.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for both of them, you know, bond is that home loan, if you will, and then the capital is. And unless, did we set it with inflation, Jody? Cause
Well,
sometimes.
it's the only levy that you'll have that's a tax rate assessed against your tax base. So almost all your levies are determined by enrollment, but it will fluctuate and change. So as your tax base increases, you'll qualify for more revenue. And if your tax base declines, which has happened a couple times in the past, then you'll have less revenue. So it will change each year.
This is on more of a percentage of your tax base than whatever they pay.
It's a tax rate. It's required to be a tax rate that you're requesting from your taxpayers. So the districts that all have operating referendums in place, those are enrollment driven and their revenue fluctuates based on enrollment. You don't have an operating referendum, but capital project levies do fluctuate from year to year depending upon the change in your tax base.
Thanks for that clarification, Jody.
Of course, yeah. And so if the board was interested in changing that amount, we would need to revisit the bond amount too, because that would change all of our assumptions in the debt plan. So just know that we'd have to recalculate and revisit that bond amount then also to make everything fit. Which we can do. Yeah.
So we recalculate
For $1.
if we stay at 15, or we recalculate if it goes down to 14?
No, it's already recalculated for the 14.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Make sure I
Yeah.
understood.
Yes.
Yeah, so the bond and the payments are being spread over a larger tax base, and so is the capital project levy. If you leave it at 750, you're spreading, your tax rate is a little bit lower because you can generate the 750 with a lower tax rate. So you'll notice in the language of the ballot question, that tax rate that you need to request is slightly lower also. So that is not going to be the same number if you do want to raise 750 in revenue. It's going to, the rate that you're requesting is going to be just a little bit less. And that's, something that you could point to in the explanation too, right? That the tax base growth is allowing you to access that revenue with a lower tax rate. And allowing you to, even though the inflation is causing the bond amount to be a little bit higher, you're able to accomplish that at a lower tax rate really too.
Jody, when I look at your figures, on the one spreadsheet, that's really small fonts in that first
Yes.
column.
Yes.
It's about change in our tax base. You're using real numbers for 24-25, which is 7.7%.
That's correct. That's fiscal 25.
0.2,
Fiscal 26 is actual.
yeah,
Fiscal 27 is based upon what the counties used for your proposed tax statements. They'll calculate all of those final values and rates in the spring, but they've given us their estimates for this year.
and then you went 2%, 1%, 1%, 0.0000.
Exactly. Yep. So those are just our best assumptions at this point in time, with the goal of being conservative, of course, because we don't want those tax rates to be higher than what we're telling the taxpayers now.
And I just wanted to point that out because that clarifies the other social media post that said that we were projecting huge growth every year for the next 20 years. And that's not
No.
ever. Over 17 of the years, it's 0% projected growth. And if I'm understanding that right, Jody, that means that, as growth comes, our bond payment from taxpayers could be less because of the growth. But the capital levy would be the same percentage and that would give us more money.
That's true. Yep, exactly right. And I'll just mention, since you pointed out some of those values, that there was a legislative change that caused that growth in your tax base to be a little smaller than normal for your pay 25 fiscal 26 levy. So that 0.2% was really artificially low because of a legislative change that was made to give some property tax relief to residential homeowners. So that homestead exclusion credit, that homestead exclusion calculation was improved to provide some property tax relief, but that rate, artificially brought your value down. So we've got lots of complicated things going on in our property tax system, but so that's a little bit of an aberration, I would say, as compared to what you would normally see because of that legislative change.
That's why we're glad we have you, Jody.
Yes.
So I guess the admin team and probably the three on the call are just looking for direction on where to move forward with the review and comment and how you want to see that moving forward.
So we're just looking for consensus on
Keep it as it's
keep it
presented,
as is.
or if
Here,
there's changes
or
one.
if we want changes. Okay,
They keep it as is.
thoughts?
I like the optics of keeping it as is.
Okay.
I agree to that.
I guess we're good.
All right,
Keep it
Michelle
as
and I
is.
know what we need to do now. Jody and Ryan and Robert, thanks for being on the call. Is there anything else for them before they see you next week?
Yeah,
Yeah,
see you next week. Yeah.
I'm sure you have those cookies.
Yeah.
We'll be ready.
Great, thank
All right.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, good night.
Bye.
We have no action items and no additions. So, we need a motion to close the board meeting to discuss negotiation strategy. Motion made by Eric Minks. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Eric Stramberg. Any comments or questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing now closed.